Hello. So for my final project, I wanted to do something that involved religion and politics along with education. I'm very interested in religion and politics and their factors when they affect education. And now I am able to pursue that with this final project. So to make this project interactive, I made up a survey. It was only about 5 questions long. I just kind of wanted it short and sweet for the people who were taking it. So I conducted it with 19 individuals. I got feedback from 19 individuals, and this encompassed coworkers, family, friends, and students from other schools too. So not just Mercyhurst University. There was a girl from Damon, some kids I went to high school with, also family members who live in different states in the U.S., also coworkers that I work with here in PA. So I tried to get a good variety of who I was surveying with. Also, this is important to point out, but I made sure I had a good sum of people who were religious and people who weren't religious, because I wanted different opinions from different people. So as you can see on this side, there's the questions. These were just the 5 simple survey questions I used. Question 1, how much do you know or understand about education in schools today? Religion playing a positive or negative role? Is the political climate advocating for education of all students? How important is education, and do you agree with the statement, education, not indoctrination? So I have some results. I just made this quick little bar graph with the Google software. And as you can see right here, this is just the questions, the answers for the questions. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. And as you can see here across the x-axis, we have questions 1 through question 5. And then this is the percentage, if you will, of people who answered it. So for question 1, most people answered question 2, or question 2 was the answer 2 was the most popular for question 1. So you can look back, and these are just the questions that correlate with it. I will also send Professor a copy of this. So I just wanted to get into the influence of religion on education. So there's a lot of social factors that play into this. Religion is a big part of many people's lives, and I'm just specifically talking about in the U.S. because that's what I'm familiar with, living here and, seeing the religion and the politics influence on students. And so this picture, it may not be 100% accurate for everyone who has went through this the religious identity being so prevalent in their household, and then it affecting them, in their school, in their education institution. And so I just wanted to delve into this because there's just a lot of different things that are affected in schools and in education institutions because of this idea of religion, and then bringing into this idea of religious freedom. So these are just some pictures I got. We are all aware that science and religion often butt heads, and I just wanted to say that it can affect students socially or social developmentally. A lot of people who are religious, often they are homeschooled, at least from my experience. A lot of kids that I went to church with, most of them were homeschooled, but this is just my experience. a lot of them were homeschooled because of this idea of shielding the child's innocence. So, I mean, just being homeschooled, has its positive benefits, but it can also, be negative, meaning, this child is not exposed to many friends, being into a new environment each day. So cognitive development, mental development, it can affect education, specifically if the parents are teaching something versus them not teaching something. So it depends. If the parent sees something that they can suit their child with, then they're going to teach them that, and they're going to expose them that. But if it's something that they don't like, and from my experience, specifically something with science and religion, they clash, and so often parents who are homeschooling and who do make their religion is their lifestyle, it is what they do, it is their way of life, they will not allow certain things to be taught to their children. And so if they're being homeschooled, then they're going to make sure of that. And like I said, homeschooling is not bad. There's good things and there's bad things. And same with going to public school. There's its good benefits, and then there's the negative effects also with it, just like anything. And then I wanted to tie this into politics. How this is going to get opinionated, but I feel this was also one of the survey questions, is the political climate advocating for the education of all students? And I don't think it is. I think there is this idea of, how do I say this? There is this, of course we all have the right of religious freedom. That is a given, of course. But I feel like we take advantage of this, or some parents of students can take advantage of this and use that to say, well, it's my religious freedom, and then it ends up backfiring, and the student isn't taught something, the student isn't exposed to something. I understand the parents, we want our children to be safe, we want them to feel safe, we want them to feel happy, but we can't shield our children forever. We can't protect them from anything. I just wanted to bring into light that in Congress, a majority of Congress is actually 88% Christian. So this, with the branches of Catholicism and Protestant and Quakers and Lutheran, and this includes Democrats and Republicans. And as you can see from this table I got from the Pew Research Center, there is a list of all under Christian, this list of all these branches within it, and it adds up, if you add up just the percents within it, it adds up to about 88% right here. This is the 116th Congress, excuse me, so there's a difference of the 115th and the 116th. And then there's Judaism and Buddhism and Islam, and then people who are unaffiliated. And as you can see, like I just said, there's this huge, this majority of people who are mostly Christian. So they probably carry and hold these Christian values, and so this affects laws being put into place. This affects, what is said and what happens. And these religions here at the bottom, where there's not a significant percentage in Congress, they're underrepresented. They're underrepresented, excuse me. So I think this idea of this majority of Christian, it plays its roles on what laws are passed and what is done and what is said. And so this can in turn also affect education. There was the Scopes trial that, argued against evolution, and maybe that saying that evolution shouldn't be taught. Of course, evolution is taught in schools, but it was a problem, and people were upset because they'll say, well, it's my religious freedom, my children shouldn't be taught that. But if there's science that backs it up, we can't shield our children from everything. Our children are not, they're not our molds. They are their own people. They have to learn, they have to be exposed. And then there's this idea also of sex education. Some parents don't want it taught for religious purposes of protecting the child and their innocence. And in 35 states, parents can actually opt out. And this can also be again for this idea of religious freedom. So I just feel very passionate about this subject and for education in general. So that is why I chose to do this and conduct this survey. I learned a lot doing this survey, and I learned so much from this class and from my research going into this presentation. So these are my sources. I'm also going to send a copy of the survey also, so Professor may take a look. I just want to say thank you. This has been a very fun and educational class.